Well, hello, healers and health seekers. It's me, Ichota, healing with medical medium information for 4 years and 6 months now. Holy moly. It's December. Okay. What I'm healing from: mast cell activation disorder, POTS, fibromyalgia, dysautonomia, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, eczema, rosacea, acne, a whole host of other symptoms and conditions, anxiety, PTSD, depression, all of those great things. So that's what I'm healing from. And today I want to make a video about a question and answer video. A question that I get a lot, which is, do I need to see a practitioner? And people will often say a medical medium practitioner in order to really heal with medical medium information. And to that, I want to speak. So let's start with this. There are no medical medium practitioners at all. Medical medium has never trained anyone. There are no medical medium practitioners. Medical medium is a trademarked name, and only he has the right to use it. So, that being said, there are practitioners like doctors and chiropractors and massage therapists and health coaches and nutritionists of all kinds. There are all kinds of practitioners who have chosen to use medical medium information to inform their practice and to help them help people and their clients or patients. And that is fantastic. That is fantastic, because the more this information gets out into the world, the better it is for everyone so that they can heal. Now, do you need a practitioner in order to heal? Nope, you do not. Absolutely not. Can one be helpful? Maybe, sometimes, yeah. I think sometimes one can be helpful. I think it can be very helpful if you already have a practitioner that you know and trust to take the books to that practitioner and say, hey, I want to do this. Help, And because that lets them know that this is out there, that this information is out there, if they don't already know about it. The more clients and patients that take these books to their practitioners and educate their practitioners about this information, the better it's going to be for the world, because the more help it's going to give their clients and patients. And I think that is a wonderful thing. Now, you can fully heal without the help of a practitioner because medical medium has put this information into the books. Obviously, he has done this, and he said it many times. I've done this so that it would be like I'm there. And I sighed because his waiting list got into the millions at the end there when he had to stop seeing people, and he did write the books. And he wrote the books so that the information could get to all the people, and it would be like he was there. It would be like he was giving them the information, only more so because you have all of the information, which he cannot give you in one hour session or 1/2 hour session, or however long his sessions used to be. And he's one guy, right? He can't, he is human. Just because the voice that he speaks to isn't and comes from above, he's still a human person. And so how can one person see millions of people? He can't. And so that's why he had to write the books. He had to. And he has said that many, many times. And I have found, now these are all my opinions, just so you know, and they're not coming from anyone but me. And you are free to make your own judgment with your own opinions and your own intuition and whatever feels right to you. So I have found over the years that what I've seen with people is that, so people message me and they direct message me and stuff like that on, my Instagram, and they message me on Facebook and wherever and ask me questions because, People tend to gravitate towards people who say, yes, I've healed the thing that you have been diagnosed with, right? And that's great, because what I want people to know that they can heal. And what I've learned from this is that I have found that when people, so they message me and they ask me questions, and I love to answer questions, and I love to help people, and I love to let people know, most importantly, that they can heal, because that's really what it's about. It's about really helping people trust that there is something that works and that they can heal, because it's important. It's important to know that. It's important to know that you can trust your body, and that your body is working for you, and that the reason you think it's not is because you haven't had the right tools, nor have you had the right information about how your body works. And it's just confusion, and that once you have the answers and once you have the truth about how it actually works, it's a huge relief. It's a huge relief, and it's a huge load off. And just knowing that you don't have to guess anymore and play all those guessing games that's just set up in the whole systems out there, it is such an incredible relief. It was such an incredible relief to me. Now, I do understand at the beginning how, if you're brain fogged and it feels overwhelming and you don't know where to start, it really can be, it can bring you peace of mind to just have a direction to go in. And at the beginning, I did consult with a practitioner who used medical medium information in her practice. And just having a direction to go in gave me enough peace of mind to just trust and go. And that is valuable and important. And I have also seen people, myself included, make the mistake of thinking that a practitioner claiming to be a medical medium practitioner, because that is so misleading. Because then people think, oh, he trained them. I did. That's what I thought. I thought that when someone claimed to be a medical medium practitioner, that meant that they had training from him, especially because some people on their websites put that they do have training from him, which they don't. It's very misleading. It's very misleading. And I cannot speak to what their motives are for saying things like that. And I have learned over the years that that's just not the case. It's not the case. And people make a lot of claims about him that turn out to not be true. A lot. Pretty much everything on the internet that everyone's ever written about him is not true. Everything on the internet that's ever been written about him, it's not true. So then if you're somebody who's trying to heal all the broken trust that you have been dealt by betrayals in your life and the medical system betraying you and, leading you on and not ever giving you answers and then gaslighting you and all that stuff. If you're somebody who's trying to heal that kind of thing, it can be detrimental to your healing process to discover. I shouldn't say detrimental, but it can set you back. It can set you back to suddenly have another betrayal of somebody that you thought was a certain thing and they turn out not to be that. And I've seen that happen to people. I've seen that happen to people who fully put their trust in someone, thinking basically that they were like his right-hand man and had been fully trained by him, and that they knew basically almost as much as, like, second only to him as far as knowing the information. And I just want to help people out and say that's not a thing. Only Anthony has spirit of compassion in his ear giving him the information 24/7. The rest of us are human. And no matter how well we know the books and how well we know his information and how much we've listened to every podcast and every book and have read every book multiple times and have watched every live and every video he's done, every interview, all of that. No matter how much information we have taken in, we can still make mistakes. We don't mean to, but we can. And it's hard to know what's going to work for every single person. You don't always know, because it's hard to get a complete picture of somebody's life, especially even when you have them fill out a form that's like a really detailed form of all the things that you think you need to know. There's still things that people don't realize they need to put on that form, or, you know what I mean? There's just human error, like people don't mean to omit things, and they don't realize they're omitting things, but they do. And so sometimes it can be difficult. It can be tricky. And what I have seen is the best healing and the most thorough healing that people do is when they take ownership of their own healing path, and they read the books and they learn the information themselves, and they enact it themselves. And that doesn't mean don't ever have a practitioner. It just means be realistic about your expectations of a practitioner. Know that they are a human being who can make errors, and they're not his right-hand man, and they're not knowing all, and they can get stuff wrong. And that it's best if you learn yourself what the information is. And I feel like a practitioner can be such a great emotional support, because they can help you with a direction. Like I said, if you're brain fogged at the beginning and you just really need somebody who does really kind of know the information better than you to be like, hey, these are the things that I think would be a really good start, a place to start, start here and then go from there. And then as you go along, you're learning the information more and more. And as time passes, then and you get empowered to make your own adjustments to your protocols and whatever you're doing, and decide like, oh, maybe I want to go a little bit further with this, and how can I do that? And then you know where to go in the books to find out yourself how you can do that. Because there isn't a person out there that can give you all the answers in a way that's going to recreate the information better than you could get it from the books yourself. And I feel qualified to make these declarations because I went through that process of the realization of that. I went through that process of realizing that these people who claim to be medical medium practitioners were not who I thought they were. They weren't trained by him. They weren't all qualified. They didn't know everything and they could get stuff wrong. And I witnessed them getting things wrong. And it's okay, because I've gotten stuff wrong. I mean, like, we all are going to get stuff wrong. We're human beings. It's okay. It's okay. It's not like they're bad people or anything like that. It's not even like that. But what has been the most effective for people is when they follow the books, they get the information from the books and they learn it, and they take the initiative to put it in themselves and learn it themselves and soak it in themselves, so that they can be empowered to make the choices. So they know why they're using lemon balm, and they know why they're using zinc, and they know why they're using B12, and they know why they don't want to eat the no foods, and they know why they want to eat the healing foods, and what healing foods to eat and when. That's what the books are for. Life-changing foods is over 50 different foods and what it does. Like, there's 4 pages on like each food and what exactly it does in the body, what symptoms and conditions it's good for, the spiritual lesson, what kind of support it can give you emotionally, and then a recipe. And here's how you can eat it if you want to. Here's how you can ingest it if you want to. Here's how you can drink it. But this is what it's for. And that's an incredible book, by the way, Life-Changing Foods. I love every single one of his books. And I love them more and more the more I personally consult them. I tried the shortcut path. I tried the ways of getting someone else to tell me the important things about the information that I needed to know. And I got burned by that. It was, in some ways, it was helpful, but in other ways, it made me dependent then on that person rather than on myself and on the books. And Anthony says repeatedly, medical medium says repeatedly, cite the source so people can go to the source. And he says that because it's important to go to the source. It's important for you because it's medical scripture. It's a living word. Every single time I read one of the books, it doesn't matter which one, I will see something different than the last time I read it. I will get different information, will stand out to me and be more important to me, and I will understand things on a deeper level, and it'll be a different experience than the last time I read it. It's not the same book every time, and it's not like the words change or anything like that, but it's like those of you who have read the Bible, it's scripture, right? It's living word. And when you read the Bible, you go and you look, and different things stand out to you at different times, and different things are more relevant at different times. And that's the same with medical medium books. These are medical scripture. And so this is how to best support ourselves. And there's so many tools in these books. There's meditations, there's angels, there's the healing foods, there's the healing herbs, there's the healing supplements, there's all of it. There's so much there. There's emotional supports, there's spiritual support, there's physical support. And if we're getting the information secondhand from somebody else, there might be something that they leave out that would have been really important for us to know or have. And it's not intentional. Nobody means to do that. But that's why it's so important. Like when people message me and they start asking me questions and they want me to basically tell them what the books say, I'm like, I can't. I cannot recreate what is in those books that will do it justice in any kind of a way. I can't do it. Even if I know it for myself, what's going to be the most relevant to me is maybe not going to be what's the most relevant to you. Even if we have the exact same diagnoses. Like we can have all the exact same diagnoses, but you might need something different. And you'll know. You'll see it in the books. You'll see it. You'll hear it in the podcasts. You'll hear it in the old radio shows if you want to go back through those. You'll see it in the information. Maybe you have different taste buds than I do. You're at a different stage in your healing. You might want different recipes than appeal to me. And that's great. Like, it's okay because everybody has their own way to do this medical medium path. And that's the beauty of it, right? Like you can take as much information as you need and you can use, and you can always go further. You can use as much of it as you choose to use, but you can always go further. If you are stalled out in your healing or blocked, you can always take it up a notch, go a level further. And maybe that's where it would be a good place to have support. Maybe when you're like, I've been doing this and I'm trying to move the needle on it and I just can't seem to see where I'm blocked. That is a good place to be like, hey, let me reach out to somebody who is experienced and has been at this a while, and maybe they will be able to see, because sometimes two heads are better than one, right? Like you get more eyes on something and you can go, hey, did you look here? And did you try this? And sometimes people go, yeah, I tried that. But if I push them, if I press them on it and I go, but did you really try every option there? And they'll be like, well, no, I didn't. And I know they didn't. I can tell in the first initial speaking to them that they didn't. But sometimes it takes somebody asking you, like really having you look at it, because maybe you think, oh, I did, I tried. Like, because a great example is the mono cleanse, right? So for really sensitive systems, in the Cleanse to Heal book, Medical Medium recommends the mono cleanse. And people think, oh, I've heard of a mono cleanse. I know what that is, but I guarantee you don't, because it's very specific and there's several different ones in this one book, and they are for different options. And they each have sort of a different purpose. And you could do any one of them and they would all bring healing results for sure. And there might be reasons why some people wouldn't be able to do one over the other. Like maybe certain foods are more, they feel are more aggravating to them or whatever it is. But you have to read the book, because you can't just be like, oh, I know what a mono cleanse is. I tried that. Did you though? Because there's like 7 or 8 options for a mono cleanse in the Medical Medium Cleanse to Heal book. And they also, within those options, there are different ways to do them. So did you really do at least a week of 7 or 8 different cleanses? I kind of doubt it. I don't think you did. So really, like, sometimes it takes somebody asking those questions, because you might think, oh, I tried it. But it's like, did you try it, or did you just do it for like half a day and maybe not as recommended? Because the other thing that is important to know is, don't just go to one of the books and pick and choose. If you haven't read like the whole book before, it's one thing if you've read the whole book before and then you're just going back to reference a section. It's another thing if you haven't actually read the whole book, but then you're just like, well, I'm just going to read this one little part, because that does not give you complete information. Like, you really need to read the whole book before you start something. Before you start the mono cleanse, read the whole book so that you have the full picture. Because the cleanse it's not just that one section that gives the menus, right? There's a whole chapter on modifications you can make to the cleanses and why and how. There's a whole chapter on the reason to use these certain cleanses and how they work and what, there's so much information in the book that you don't want to just pick and choose the sections. And that's just the Cleanse to Heal. This is true of all the books. All of them are like this, where you really need to read the full book to get the full picture, because part of healing is really understanding why we're sick, why we have symptoms, why these symptoms are chronic, how it works in our bodies, why do we gain weight, why do certain symptoms persist, why does it seem like I'm having symptoms when I start a cleanse, why does it seem to exacerbate my symptoms? The answer to that one is, it's coincidental timing. It was coming anyway. And people don't realize that. They think, oh gosh, is this some kind of Herxheimer reaction, or am I reacting to these foods or stuff like that? And it's like, no, but you've got to read the information and know it so that you understand, why is it not a reaction to the food? Why is it that it was something that was coming along anyway? How come the timing of it is so synonymous with what I'm doing now? These things are important. The details really do matter, and it's so important to learn it yourself. I have found over the years that if I just continually answer questions for somebody, it gives them a crutch. They're getting the information way secondhand. I am not the medical medium. I know the information well, and I'm really proud of how much I do know and understand of the information. But I also know that I can get it wrong, or word things incorrectly, or misremember something, and I don't really want people to be leaning on me for the information, or anybody else out there. Honestly, I think that it's important that we don't do that. It's great to have support, and that's good to fill in blanks, or, maybe help word something in a different way that you've already read. Like, oh, I read this, but I don't quite get it. Can you help fill it in? Yes, that I can do. That we can try to, I'll try to explain what I understand of it. But you still need to read the book. Everybody does. And I had just have found that if I spoon feed somebody the information and if I just keep answering their questions and they're never going back and like looking things up themselves and referring to the books, I am not helping them. And I learned that the hard way, and it broke my heart to realize that I had done that. I just wanted to help so bad that I just kept answering their questions. And then I realized, like, hey, you could look this up. Why aren't you looking this up? Why are you coming to me? You have the books right in front of you. Why don't you go to the books and find this information yourself? Like, look in the index, and if you can't find something in the book, or maybe you can say, hey, do you know which book this was in? Rather than being like, could you please explain this to me? Because it's not helping either of us. It's not helping you learn the information, really, because you're getting it secondhand, and that's not the same as going to the source. And B, it's teaching you, like, you can just rely on me rather than ever learning it yourself. And when you don't learn it yourself, you don't understand it. And if you don't understand it, you're less likely to continue to utilize it, and you're less likely to find the healing that you're looking for, because you're not taking on your own healing. And it's just like this horrible vicious cycle that doesn't help anybody. So in my wanting to help somebody so bad, I've actually done them a great injustice by just continually answering their questions. And again, like I said, it's a totally different thing if somebody has read the information, read the books, and is just going, I just need a little more clarification because I don't quite understand this concept. And like, what do you think of this? Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. This is what I think, like we can discuss it. It can be a discussion. And I think that is really productive. Or, wow, that list of supplements is big. Could I just start with a few of them? Do you think, like, what would be the ones to start with? I read the list, I've read the book, I understand, what is going on there and why these supplements are listed, but is it okay to start with a few? Like, I can do I can do clarification questions, and that's good. And I don't just mean me, but I mean, like, this is the reason it's just really important for us all to learn the information ourselves. And like I said, I learned this the hard way because I did a little bit too much leaning on others, even though I had read the book, but I had brain fog, right? So I didn't, like, when I could have gone back and reread the book, instead I was asking other people. And I should have gone back and reread the book because it would have given me more value, and I wouldn't have been steered in kind of wrong directions, or if I was, that would have been totally on me. And again, I'm not saying that every practitioner is going to steer you in the wrong direction. I'm just saying that I think even before you go to any practitioner or consult a practitioner, it's good to have read the entire book. It doesn't matter which one, just one of them. But Cleanse to Heal is the latest book, and it really does have a very comprehensive amount of information in it, and it would be a great book to start with if you have not read the other books. And then I highly recommend the first book, Medical Medium, Secrets Behind Chronic and Mystery Illness and How to Finally Heal, because that is my favorite one. And it is my favorite one because it is the one that I healed with. And because it has his story in it of how Spirit of Compassion came to him and his experience with that. And it has the meditations in it, and it has the essential angels in it. And I feel like it is such an incredible book, and I love it so much, and I have multiple copies of it to give away to people if they need it. So Cleanse to Heal is where I would start at this point. Yes, I would, because Cleanse to Heal has comprehensive information and it has protocols for over 200 symptoms and conditions that the first book had sort of like more, it had lists of stuff, but it didn't have dosages. And now it's also, time passes and things change and get updated. So the Cleanse to Heal is updated, right? So I would go with that for protocols for sure. Just read one of the books. Then if you still feel like you need direction, and that actually is what I did. I read the book and I was still brain fogged, and it was about 4 or 5 months in, and I did consult with a practitioner because I was like, it's just overwhelming. I'm kind of not sure like where to start supplement wise, and I'm really sensitive. I have a sensitive nervous system. And then it was just the 28-day cleanse. He didn't have the mono cleanses out either. See, that's the other thing. Cleanse to Heal has all these different cleanses. Do Cleanse to Heal. So it's just different, right? It's just different. And I'm not complaining about my experience. My experience was my experience. I feel that I got incredible value out of all of the pieces that I had in my journey. Like all of the parts and everything that I did, even if it was like, oh, that kind of took me down not a good path, it's still valuable because it helps me to learn and grow. So there's still value to it. And I'm glad for having that experience. And I just wanted to share the benefit of my experience so that hopefully it can help other people avoid some of the mistakes that I made. Also, again, this is my opinion and you don't have to agree with me either. So, and that's fine. So I definitely think it can be of benefit to possibly reach out to practitioners if that's what you feel like you need, and you feel like it's worth it to pay somebody to help you disseminate information that you get for free out of these books. And it can be worth it to pay for somebody's time, for sure. I do take issue with people turning his cleanses and his information into their own programs and then selling them for money. I don't like that. So I can't really recommend the people who do that, or people charging money to lead, again, his cleanses that he gives away for free. I don't think that's cool. I think that's a little bit shady. And that's not a commentary on the people who are doing it. I think they mean well. I just think that if they were honest with themselves about what they were doing, then they would find another way. But remember, his information is free. I mean, you can buy the books, but you can also get the books from the library. And he is very clear that it's free, 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 free. He says it so much lately, like all the time, like you can get this free, I don't care. Because he's not trying to sell something or make money. He's trying to help people heal. That literally is his for real purpose in life. Like that is what he does. He had to write the books, and it was the way to get the information out to everybody. Everything Medical Medium does is done to try to get the information out to more people so more people can heal. Honestly, sometimes I see him like one man standing against a tidal wave, but somehow he's still standing and somehow he's still fighting for us, and he amazes me. He amazes me what he does. So I feel protective and I feel upset when I see people use what he has worked his life to build and worked his life to get out there to people and use it for their own financial benefit. It bothers me. And that's why I haven't become a practitioner. Not because I feel that there are practitioners out there who are ethical, who are using his information to really help their clients. And I think there is a way that you can do it, for sure, that like it really is to people's benefit, and that is the full intention. And it's not just like, oh, how can I build my business? There's a difference. Anyway, I think I've talked about this before, or at least I've ranted about it before and maybe not published the video, but so I'm not going to like go into a big rant about that, but I just wanted to be clear that, I just want to say that I think that the most important thing you can do for yourself as far as imparting, like starting on this path, is reading the books and learning for yourself. And it's great to also listening to the podcast, because the podcasts are incredible. Apple Podcasts, Medical Medium Podcasts on Apple Podcasts. The podcasts are incredible, and you can also listen to them on Android. My husband has an Android, and that's how he listens. So yeah, so listening to the podcasts and reading the books and just taking in the information as best as you can yourself, I think is the first step. And then after you have started, I think then if you feel like you really need to consult somebody, the other thing you can do is make friends with people in the community and, ask each other questions and talk to each other about things. And then maybe those friends in the community have somebody that they're like, oh, you know who we could ask about that? Like, maybe let's ask this person. Because for me, that has been of the most benefit, is really just connecting with people in the community who I have come to value and trust, and asking them. And people in this community are really friendly for the most part, at least from what I've seen, and will do their best to help guide you to where you can find the information and, and answer questions and when they can and stuff like that. But I just, a little bit, I would say, be leery about people claiming to be experts. Just know that you can be an expert, for yourself. And I would say be leery about people claiming to be like the ultimate experts and knowing all the information, because it's just not, like, how could you? It's 6 books plus podcasts and radio shows, and there is so much. And it's, I feel like there's no, even if somebody had an eidetic memory, a lot of times it's like, well, what's the spirit of something? And, and things taken out of context. It's just best to learn it yourself. It really is. I know it's a lot of work and it takes a lot. And you might think, oh my gosh, there's 6 books, but just start with one book. Just start with one book and like get to know that book really well. And then you can move on to the other ones. Like, I was lucky because I got the first book when it came out, and then each book has come out, like, we have a year in between each book. So then the next year I read the next book, and then the next year I read the next book, and then in between I would go back and reread other books and like listen to all the podcasts and all this stuff. I'm very immersive, and I like to take in as much information about something as I can when I'm interested in it. And I became so interested in medical medium that you could say I'm a little bit obsessed. And I'm not using that in the way kids use it, because I'm old people. I'm not using that really in that way, like, oh, I'm obsessed. No, I mean like a little bit obsessed, like, for real. But I think another reason that it became so immersive for me is I have spent my lifetime looking for answers and looking for truth. And finally I found something that is both. And it just takes such a weight off, because everything was a question before. Everything was like, but is this right? Is this true? And it might be. And I never was sure. And the one thing that I know that I'm super sure of now is this information. I can always find truth here. I can always find certainty. And the weight that lifts off of my shoulders and my mind and my heart, Oh my gosh, that's priceless. I am so grateful for that. So grateful. Every day. I live in a state of gratitude every day for having answers. Finally, finally. 44 years of searching before this. Because I mean, literally, since I was a kid, you know, since I was little, I just wanted the truth about things. I just wanted really just the truth. What's real, you know? What's true? And I spent so many years in the health community, especially after my son died. But even before my son died, you know, before he was born, before, I think probably since I was like in my 20s, I was just looking for how to be healthy and how to be, just live my best life. And so many years I spent searching for that answer, for those answers. And after my son died, I threw myself into that research so hard. Because it's like, it was everything then. It became everything. And to finally, after all those years, finally have an answer, finally have like truth and real answers that really worked and really did something. Because nothing, and I have tried all of the things, all of them. I have done every freaking diet. I have done every supplement and every whatever, every trend and what, just everything. I've done it all. I'm old enough to have done it all, and I have done it all. I've tried it all, and I really have tried it all, like for years and years and years. I've done different things, and it wasn't like a week here, a week there. It was like, this is my life now, and this is my life now, and this is my life now, and this is, I've changed it so many times. I don't know how my husband's head isn't just spinning around, like from all the times of just like, nope, this is how we eat now. And it's a total 180 to what we were doing, you know, 2 weeks ago. And I've done it to him so many times. And he just is like, okay, this is what it is now. And nothing worked. Nothing got me where this medical medium information has gotten me. And it's the information itself, not what other people say about it. It's the source of the information. It's going to medical medium. And oh, another thing about that, there's like 100 books. There's like 100 groups on Facebook that have the medical medium name on them illegally, or say they're like a study group or whatever. There is only one group on Facebook that is the medical medium members only group, and that is what it is called. And it is the only official group, and it is the only group that is not filled with misinformation. I used to be in like a bunch of those groups thinking, oh, I can just take in more and more information. And then I started to realize over time that it wasn't actually his information. It was some of his information, but mixed with other stuff and put through the filter of people's opinions, which not a good combination. So those groups, if you're in them, I know, I understand the draw. I really do. I was in all of them, but they are not helping you. They are not helping because they are just giving more confusing information. And I wish that the people who ran them would have the ethics to take them down and just let the information be pure and stop trying to co-opt it and think that they can do a better job than he can at getting the information out to people who need it. It's just don't. Just don't. Just don't. Because it's just, I've seen some of these groups, and some of them made my toes curl and my head spin because of how awfully wrong the information in them was and how far from his information it was, and yet had his name splashed across it illegally. It's just not okay. It's just not okay, man. And I know I have pissed some people off by telling them so. I have made some people angry by saying, like, hey, this is not okay. And what you're doing is, if he wanted to do this, he would have done this. This is not what he wants. This is not it's not your position. And another thing is, like, sharing the notes from, like, the TikTok lives is also, that's not okay. If he wanted to do that, he would. One of the reasons that he doesn't share the notes from the TikTok lives is because, now, first of all, that's his intellectual property, and it's not okay for other people to copy it or screenshot it and upload it or anything like that. That's illegal, is what that is. Secondly, this goes for radio shows and podcasts as well. If he wants to do notes on those and have, like, an accompanying blog post, he will do it. It's not anyone else's place to do it. So I'm just going to say that. I'm just putting that out there because I've seen so many people do it. And some of them I know, and so I've talked to them and I've said, hey, this is not okay. And then they understood, like when I explained it to them, like, literally, this is illegal. And you got to think of it like this is his intellectual property. And if he wanted to have notes out there, he would put them out there. The reason he can do the TikTok lives, like he can do the lives, is because he's on an uncensored platform and those videos disappear. That's part of the reason he can do that. If he was able to put notes out, he would do it. And if he was able to save them and put them up on another platform and not get deplatformed for doing it, he would do it. But he isn't, is he? So follow his lead and respect his intellectual property and leave it alone. Please, I beg you. I don't want him to get deplatformed for what he has said on another platform. I don't want the information to stop going out to people who need it. I think it's important that it be accessible in any way possible, and I think the best person to decide how that happens is him, not us, because we don't have the information that he has. So, oh, please just respect that. And if you see somebody doing it, lovingly and gently, if you feel compelled to, but don't be confrontational and don't be mean and don't be hateful, because people think they're helping and they think they're doing good things. But if you see somebody doing it, and if you feel like you know them enough to, like, say something to them, let them know, like, hey, it's not your place to do this. Like, it's just not okay. But again, all just coming from me. So, well, not all just coming from me. I mean, it is the law. Like, intellectual property is real, and you can look up the laws about it. And we should respect people's intellectual property. It's important, and respect that they are the ones best qualified to decide what they want to do with that intellectual property, and not make those choices for them, because that makes it harder on them. It just does. This is true of everybody and everybody's intellectual property. Like, it's one thing when he does the little TikTok videos that stay up, because there's things that with TikTok as an app, like, you can do duets with them or whatever, and that's okay because that's what that's for. It's just another thing entirely to take notes off of a live and post them and jeopardize his account and the ability of people to get the information. Anyway. So yeah, back to the topic of seeing a practitioner. Basically, my whole point being, I have found just, like, the most effective way for people in their healing and and understanding is for them to learn the information themselves. And then we help each other along the way, because that is awesome. It's great to support each other, and I love supporting people, and I love answering questions too. I love helping people out. Like if they get stuck a little bit, or like, hey, do you know what book this was in? Or, but I do think, like, even when I answer questions, and I used to do this differently. I used to want to give people the answers, but then I realized, like, I'm giving them the answer out of context, and isn't it better if I tell them where to find the answer themselves? Yes, it is. And so I started doing it that way. So when I do answer questions on threads and posts for both, like on my channel and on his channel, if people ask a question and I'm in a live or whatever, and I see a question and I'm like, oh, I know where they can find that, I will just try as much as I possibly can to direct people to where they can find it themselves. Like, hey, this is in the Cleanse to Heal book, and he talks about it in there, because I'm not going to be able to recreate what he said in like a comment or even a thread on a video. Like, just, hey, this is where you can find it. You can get the answer to that for yourself in this book. You should read the book, because it's, how they say, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, he eats forever. It's just like that. So you give somebody the answer, yeah, they'll have it for a minute, but like they don't understand it the way they would if they read the book, They read the books themselves and learn the information themselves, and then it's like, oh, I get this. I get how this works. So that is what I wanted to say about that, and about having a practitioner. And again, this is not to knock practitioners. People got to make a living, and I'm not saying that that's wrong. I don't think it's wrong to be a practitioner. And I especially think it's great that all these practitioners are using medical medium information to help people, because that's important, man. You want doctors to do that. You want chiropractors to do that, massage therapists and acupuncturists and homeopaths, like all of them. You want everybody to get this information and use it with their clients and coaches and whatever. But that's to say, don't let a practitioner replace your learning the information yourself, because let them be a supplement, not a replacement. It's very important, in my humble opinion. So I hope this was valuable, and if I raised any more questions than I answered, please leave them in the comments below if you have any questions or comments, if you'd like to add something to what I said. If I was too rambly, no, don't tell me that. No, you can tell me that. Well, maybe. Don't. Be nice. I'm just kidding. If you want to add something to what I said, or if you have questions about something I said, let me know in the comments. And if you found this helpful, please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, my healers and health seekers. I love you so much, and remember to stay curious, and remember that you can heal. You really can. Yes, you. Yes, you. And stay curious, and I love you, and I wish you so many blessings on your continued healing journey, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.